Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. I have a fun fold card today, and the reason I designed this card was that our designer series paper, our decorative paper, is double-sided, and oftentimes if you just cut it and stick it down onto a card base, all you can see is one side of the beautiful paper. So I came up with this idea where we can actually have both sides of the paper visible, and so I've got this one as well where you can see the pretty inside of this really gorgeous paper. So I'm gonna, instead of creating those ones again, I'm going to start from scratch, and I decided that I would use the Your Peach Designer Series paper, and this is very pretty, lovely pastel colours, and obviously it features a peach but also peach blossom. My peach tree has just finished blossoming in the garden, and I can just start to see the baby peaches just starting to protrude, so I'm looking forward to the summer when we see those. So the one that I decided to use was this one here, that's got big peaches on the front and then very delicate little peaches on the back. And when you look at your designer series paper, on the back there's the backing sheet. If you look real close, it tells you the colours that have been used in this particular paper. And so when I decide to use a paper, then I look to see which colours I'd like to choose from there, and this gives me that clue. So I'm going to use this Pear Pizzazz, which is just one of my all-time favourite greens. And I'm also going to be using some pale papaya and a little calypso coral. So those are my three colours. So if you're stuck for inspiration for colour combinations, the place to go is the backing sheet of your decorative paper. Now these are my pieces. I went ahead and cut my backing piece, and then these are two squares of the paper, and they're 4 by 4, so you can actually get 6 cards. So 4, that would be 3 threes. You can get 5 and a half cards from a sheet of 12 by 12 paper, so it makes your paper go a very long way. Now if you look, I have just gently scored this at a 1/2 inch. It's probably easier to see on the back. I've scored both pieces a 1/2 inch, and because they're going to meet in the middle, they've been scored on the outside. Now it's best to try and use a paper that doesn't have a direction, and by that the pattern is more random. This one is sort of random, but it does have a bit of a direction in it with these little blossoms here and here, and the fruit sort of seems to be dangling down a little bit. So when you do that, you just got to make sure that you put the score lines on opposite sides. And so I'm just going to put my score lines in, and I'm going to burnish them with my bone folder. So these are 4 by 4 scored on one side at a 1/2 inch, and then this is a quarter side. This is a quarter card, so it's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and then this is a piece of basic white, which is 5 1/4 by 4. Now you don't have to remember these dimensions. If you follow the link below my video here, it'll take you to my blog, and all that information will be on there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the white piece to the each of the pieces of designer series paper, and I like to use liquid adhesive, but you can go ahead and use Stampin' Seal or a adhesive of your choice. And there's a little bit in here. Now rather than try and line everything up by sort of trying to do it like this, if I lay my card down and I lay that cut edge up against the score line, you just see the score line there. And then if you make the table do the work, so push that up and just bring that over, and that will be in a perfect position. So there's my one side, and then here's the other side. Make sure that you put it the right way around, Cindy, and then you won't be a bit too heavy-handed with it there. So again, I'm just going to line that up with the score line. Just see there. And I'm just going to bring that over and then just bring that down. And there's my pieces, and you can see how both sides of the designer series paper come and take their place on the stage. Now, to do the next bit, I like to use double-sided tear and tape, and that's really just because I've got quite a lot of weight on this piece of card now, and I just want to make sure that when it comes out the envelope, when the recipient opens it, it doesn't fall apart. So I'll just pop my tape on. I prefer to actually tear the tape. You can see it tears really well, and then it also keeps the guck off my scissors, which I always seem to get such gucky scissors. And so this piece is going to stay here like that. Now I'm going to attach it to my card base, and this is a little technique that my dear friend Ellie in the UK taught me. Sometimes, you know, you just need a little bit of extra time to line up your card to make sure that it is centered well, or at least in the right place. So what I've done is I've taken one end of each of those pieces of tape and I've just pulled them back a little bit and then folded them up. And then I'm going to take my card and just going to position it, and I can take my time and make sure it's centered all the way around, and then gently take my fingers out and press the corners, and then just very, very gently pull away my pieces of backing tape, and my piece of paper is perfectly centered in the card, and then it works like that. So that was a good tip from Ellie. Now I'm going to put a piece of cardstock here, just because it's kind of getting lost here and the pattern doesn't match. So we're gonna sort that out straight away. So I've got an embossing folder here. Now this is called Stripes and Splatters. I want to say splotches, because if you look at it, you can see that there's kind of just a wild pattern of splatters. Now for this, it's a thick embossing folder here. So I'm going to be using the white base plate, and then I'm going to be putting my card and the embossing folder in. And then there's two plates that come, embossing plates that come with the mini. One is a thick one and one is a thin one. So the dark one is the thinner of the two. So when you've got a thick embossing folder, you need to use the thinner plate. So I'm just going to pop that in, and you'll want to put your embossing folder in hinge first. I'm just going to gently crank that through. Now this is 1.5 inches wide, this piece of paper, cardstock, and I've cut it slightly longer than the 4 inches. And the reason I like to do that is that sometimes when you emboss, it does make the card sort of scrunch up a little bit, and it can fall a little bit short. And you can always trim the extra off. What you can't do is stretch it to fit. So a little adhesive, and I'm going to line up this cut edge with the cut edge of my decorative paper. You may hear us talk about designer series paper or DSP, but at the end of the day, it's decorative paper. Nothing magic about it other than the fact that the designs are absolutely stunning. Then I'm just going to trim off a little bit of my extra with my paper snips here. Now, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to finish this card off. I thought about it when I was getting the colours and everything ready, but I'm going to be just sort of working my way through here to see how I'm going to finish this off. I've got some pale papaya ribbon, and I've also got the stamp set that coordinates with this paper. And I thought I would use Sweet as a Peach there. That's my greeting. And I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz. I also am going to use my very, very favourite and very soon to retire, which makes me very sad, but there's lots of lovely other goodies in the catalogue to replace them. The Stitched So Sweetly dies. I love these scalloped rectangles, and then these more sort of curvy designs up here. So I am going to cut myself a piece of Pear Pizzazz, and again I'm going to put my base plate, my white base plate down first, and then I'm going to put a clear cutting plate, then my die with my card, and then a clear cutting plate on the top. I'm just going to offset them slightly at the top here because it makes it easier for it to go into the machine. And then what I call it biting. It's just when the rollers inside pick up on the sandwich that you're running through, and then it goes through. So that's that piece. So that gives me that really pretty scalloped circle, scallop rectangle. I think I'm going to do it like that. And I'm thinking, to be honest with you, it's looking a weeny bit lost, that green on green. All right, so we've got, let's see, maybe I should do, would that work if I was to put that? Not so sure now. I am just going to go with it. I am just going to go with my instinct and use that square. I won't stick anything down until I'm absolutely convinced. And then I'm going to use one of the sweet sort of curly Q. I don't quite know what to call it, but the sweet curly Q one. And I'm going to cut that out of a piece of basic white. And there's my plate. And just push it in until you feel it bite. There we go. And then, now then. So much for it biting. Oh, there it goes. Maybe didn't have the plates quite lined up. All right. All right, so I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz ink, and I'm just going to stamp in the middle of that square, that shape. And because this is a photopolymer stamp set, we can see through it. and I can line up, hopefully, if I get my head in the picture, I apologize. I'm just trying to get it lined up so that, oh wow, my goodness me, that was not a bad attempt. I've also got a little bit of Calypso coral here, and I think I'm just going to put, there's a tiny little blossom stamp in the set. I think I'm just going to do a little bit of colour around the edges here. And also I think I'm going to put a little bit of decoration inside, and just some little blossoms inside. Just turn it round a little bit. Okay, well, I'm pleased with what I've done so far. I'm still troubled that that looks a little bit on, a bit lost. But maybe we can do something with the piece of ribbon to make it stick, stand out a bit more. So let's get a piece of ribbon. I'm just going to take a little bit of sticky tape and attach it to the back. I like to use this sticky tape. It's just lighter and less bulky. Oh no, I can't do that. I just can't do that because I have just remembered that that is going to stick out and that will show round. So we can't do that, but so maybe we could do it this way. Okay, to be honest with you, I did not realize that this would actually be a designing process that we went through this evening with this card. And I guess that's what comes from deciding to use a different paper than the one that I did my original samples with. Okay, so I'm just going to use this to just smooth all of that down, make sure that that then, I think that's a little bit better. Right, get some dimensionals. And I'm going to stick a dimensional there because that bit's going to come over here. And then I'm going to stick a couple of dimensionals close to that cut edge, like that. Take my backing off. And I'm going to pop that in the middle. And so I can't see any dimensionals there. Then I'm going to get my lovely little piece, that separate piece. So we put a couple of dimensionals on the back there. And pop that toward the center. And then I think I'm going to make a bow. So this needs something. It desperately needs something. It's coming together, but it needs something. Well, if you stuck with me this far on the video, I thank you very much for your patience. I think I can get away with putting it up there because it's such light ribbon. It's got lots of fresh air with it. So okay. So I think we're okay so far. Now I've just got to decide. I pulled out some iridescent rhinestones and some pearls, and I'm not sure whether I want what I want. I think it needs the pearls. So we'll just pop some pearls. I think I'll just do some random pearls around. I just want to kind of highlight this extra panel a little bit. Seeing, I'm thinking now that maybe I should have done this panel in Pale Papaya or Calypso Coral, but too late now. I'm committed, and I think I am gonna leave it at that. So here's just a good idea on how to make the most of your decorative paper. We're looking at really pretty on the outside, and you open it up and it's lovely, delicate little print on the inside. And I'm going to just show you these other two again, where again I've used the same set of dies to do the decoration, but I've used different papers and different colours. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed this fun fold that I've shared with you today. I have to admit, I did quite enjoy designing from scratch here. I don't know if I'll do it again anytime soon, but I did enjoy it. So if you've enjoyed it as well, maybe you'll go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you don't already subscribe to my channel, perhaps you just go ahead and hit that subscription button for me. Thank you for joining me today. Bye for now.